Hey guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm your host, Alex Whiteley, and joining me today, which I'm so happy about, by the way, because I've been wanting to do this for a long time, is Kevin and Catherine from Age UK. Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Alex.
I've got to explain that the reason why I've always wanted to speak to you guys is because I feel like the Shrewsbury Biscuit can offer a lot to the elderly and to people that are stuck at home, can't get out anywhere, and you know, there's only so much daytime TV you can watch before you go insane, right? So I mean, the podcast helped me just listening to them on the whole, because like when you were home alone, just having that voice in the background, just something going on, information that you're not necessarily listening to, but you're absorbing either way. And obviously this show being Shrewsbury based is an audio magazine. What a better way to let the elderly folks or the people that can't get out know what's going on in our town. So you guys are the perfect choice for us to get to know. So thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Age UK. Sort of. Are you guys just local to Shropshire, or is this a UK thing?
So, Age UK as a charity is an interesting one because we have a national charity which is called Age UK, and then there's a network of local charities. So we're Age UK Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin. You've got Age UK Birmingham, Age UK Manchester, etc., etc. So it's a kind of confederated system, if you like. I guess the key thing for us is that we are a local charity. We are separately registered with the Charity Commission. All of our funding is raised and spent locally. And so although we have the benefit of being linked to the national charity, which is really useful actually, because we get loads of stuff from them in terms of up-to-date information and advice and so on, the key thing for us is that we're local. We've been local for a long time. We understand the local issues. We've got really excellent local relationships. So I always say that we've got the best of both worlds. We're a local charity, but we've also got the benefit of the backup of the national charity, which gives us extra resources, if that makes sense.
That's refreshing to hear, because, you know, when it comes to like, I don't want to call it a big charity company a chain, but you know what I mean? Big companies, huge companies that have a big backing, big financial backing, or that, you know, they've got the strength of being a big company. When the dominoes sort of fall, it can be quite difficult if you're attached to that. But you guys have got your own little bit pots of money and you operate by yourself. So that's actually really refreshing to hear. Yeah.
I think also, Alex, you know, if you're donating to Age UK, Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin, you can be reassured that that money is being spent locally to support older people in your community at the end of the day. That's quite a powerful message, I think, particularly during this current crisis.
Absolutely. And what about your clientele then? Because I was meant to come and drop some posters off to you guys, because I thought it'd be great just to get wherever you guys operate to get the name out. You know, you can listen to the Shrewsbury Biscuit for free, and you know, it can make your day a bit better, an hour at a time. I don't know, but where do you guys operate? Is it nursing homes, or is it just people in their homes locally?
Right. Okay. So we don't operate in nursing homes. So do you want me to talk a bit about what we do there, Alex? I mean, shall I give you a quick a bit scat around the organisation? So I suppose, keep it simple. I guess as a charity, as a local charity, we've got three main functions. Okay, so we provide services, and I'll say a bit more about that in a moment. We provide information and advice to older people, and we do campaigning on behalf of older people. So those are the three main functions that we see ourselves as delivering. In terms of services, like I said earlier, the footprint is the whole of Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin. We run day centres. I mean, all of this is, I'm going to preface all of this with, this was pre-COVID. Okay. Yeah, so this is what we were doing before COVID happened, and it's what we will be doing again when we get through this pandemic. So just bear that in mind. But we run day centres, so we've got 40-odd day centres around the county. They are social day centres run by volunteers, very much part of their local communities, tend to meet once a week for up to sort of 4 hours, and the members get a meal, they get entertainment, they get exercise classes, and so on and so forth. And we know that the average age of the members of those day centres tends to be in the upper reaches of the 80s, so 85 plus. And for a lot of the day centre members, going to the day centre is the only social activity they will do each week. So really important, really important function, I guess. What else do? We do befriending. So we have a team of volunteers who visit people in their homes, people who tend to be isolated and or lonely. The two things are different. We've got well over 250 volunteers across the patch who visit older people in their own homes. Again, that tends to be weekly, providing a real lifeline to people who tend not to be able to get out of the house so much. Mm-hmm. We run a whole range of classes, so what we call our Living Well classes. So exercise groups, walking groups. We support a walking football club. We have reading groups. We have craft groups. We recently started doing adult ballet. Who knew that adult ballet was a thing? I was the most cynical person in the world when the idea was first presented to me, and I had to eat humble pie because it's been hugely successful. And we've now got a couple of classes in Shropshire and a couple in Telford. That's been brilliant. So a whole range of things that are around well-being, mental and physical health, and keeping people connected. That's the key thing here. What else do we do? We also we have a big information and advice service. Okay, so we provide advice to people who are claiming benefits. Again, a mixed team of staff and volunteers, expert volunteers and expert staff. We have a team of advocates. Again, some paid, some voluntary, and they will advocate on behalf of older people. That could be for anything. It could be a dispute with a neighbour. It could be a problem with a utility company. It might be something about access to care. You name it. We will have covered it at some point with our advocacy and benefits team. And then our biggest service that we run is our Help at Home service, which is, again, like it says on the tin, it's about providing support to people in their own homes. And that's domestic support, shopping, window cleaning, walking the dog, etc., etc. Huge service, supporting about 1,200 older people, I guess. So that gives you, I was going to say that's in a nutshell. It's a rather large nutshell.
I was going to say.
It's a coconut shell.
That's the whole tree. Wow, that's blown my mind that you guys offer so much. You do so much.
I've probably missed some stuff as well, but that's off the top of my head. I think that's everything.
I think you got everything there, Kev. I think the important thing to remember is it's a wraparound service that we offer as well. And actually, there's a lot of people that we're supporting who don't have family living locally.
Yeah.
So they do tend to turn to us for that help and support, and we can provide that backup for the family who live away from Shropshire at the end of the day. And I know that Kev's Help at Home team are in regular contact with the family members, so that there is a reference point there, if you like, if there are any concerns.
Mm.
And now, when it comes to COVID and the things that have happened, obviously this is your 70th birthday this year. Now, in the last 70 years, there have been multiple problems in society where you guys have had to adapt to, I imagine. So I guess, COVID, nobody's prepared for COVID. Nobody knows how to deal with it. But I guess in the history of Age UK, you've had to deal with situations where it's been difficult, the war, etc.
Well, Catherine and I weren't around during the war, Alex.
No. So there's got to be
difficult to talk about that.
But there's got to be people out there that kind of is documented kind of how you guys have had to adapt to things over the years.
The history of Age UK is an interesting one, because it started off in 1950. It was originally called the Older People's Welfare Committee.
Yeah,
and then these were all set up post-war, with the sole intention of supporting older people who had survived the wars. That was it. And we were obviously in Shropshire. There were lots of older people's welfare committees. There were lots of very small ones around the county. And then over the years, they became, I guess, consolidated into what was then called Age Concern. And Age Concern was again a relatively small organisation in Shropshire, and back in the sort of 80s and 90s, it was actually part of Shropshire Council. We actually had our offices in Shire Hall, and then in the early mid 90s, the charity broke away and stood by itself. And then I guess the biggest change was about 10 years ago when, and listeners will remember this, there used to be Age Concern, there used to be Help the Aged, two massive charities who combined, let's say about 10 years back, to form Age UK. And that was the point at which, I think we started to see real growth in our local charity. There's no comparison. You look back at the number of staff that we had back in the 90s, it was a small handful, and now we've got 250 staff, I suppose, turnover of over 2.5 million. So, I mean, we've grown we've grown beyond all recognition compared to where we were, 20, 30 years ago. But still doing the same stuff and doing more of it. And I guess that will be the case going forward because, as we all know, the population is an ageing population generally in Britain, not just in Shropshire. With ageing comes, not always, but, with ageing comes ill health, comes dementia, comes, problems. So we feel that we've got a really important role to play. Always have done, and I think always will do.
And there's always going to be old people, right? There's always going to be people that's going to need services like this. It's something you're never going to run out of. And I guess with Age UK and services that can keep these people at home rather than going into a nursing home is vital importance, right? So because that independence is really important to people, isn't it?
It's absolutely crucial, and it's not just of interest to the person themselves. It's also of interest to the NHS. It's also of interest to local authorities because clearly the more we can keep people at home independent, the less resources are being used by the statutory services to keep people safe. We work very closely with the NHS. I mean, one of the teams I did forget to mention in my little roundup earlier on was that we've got a team of staff who work with GP practices, who work with local NHS teams, and their sole purpose is to pick up people who don't really need a kind of medical intervention as such, but perhaps turn up at their GP because they've got nowhere else to go. And our team can then pick those people up. They've got a fantastic knowledge of other services in the voluntary sector, elsewhere in their communities, and they can keep those people out of healthcare. If that makes sense. No, so that care navigation team is a really, really important function as well. That works in hand in hand with the NHS.
Yeah, I think you guys do an amazing job, and you guys got something in Shropshire, Shrewsbury, obviously. You have the unique problem of the river, right? Because the river causes so much problems, especially beginning of this year. How does that affect you guys? Because there must be people that have been stranded, flooded, and terrible situation. Does that affect you guys a lot?
Catherine, do you want to answer that? I'll tell you how it did affect us. Our office is on Mardle. And for several days we watched the river getting ever closer to the front door.
It's one of you look at Mardle and you think, the water will never get up this far. It'll never. And what it did, yeah.
It came perilously close this time. I mean, I guess. Sorry, Catherine, go on.
We did I mean, obviously we had the really bad floods, and we were able to respond for requests for help and work with our partners. I think we have a very good close relationship with Shropshire Fire and Rescue, the local authority. So it's working with those organisations. We're in a quite strong position in that respect to ensure that whatever help older people need, that if we can't help them directly, then we certainly know somebody who can. So we did have some calls that we had to deal with during the flooding, and then of course we were straight into COVID, and that's been a real challenging time for us. But I have to say, we adapted very, very quickly.
Nice.
our services, to support older people. It's been an interesting time, and I mean, Kev will tell you, the staff, the volunteers, everybody just been amazing. Ultimately, older people have always been at the forefront of our minds, and it's how best can we continue to support older people during this crisis. So I can talk about what we did in terms of, we launched a COVID emergency response appeal. Obviously, our donations have been down. This isn't unique to Age UK, Shropshire, Telford and Wrekin. Charities across the board are suffering. And we needed to launch an appeal very, very quickly to raise those funds. And we've had fantastic support from individual donors, from local trusts and foundations who have wanted to support older people in their communities. So in that respect, I'm very, very grateful that we've had that level of support. But Kev can tell you a little bit more about how we responded quickly with adapting our services, if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because I'm old, I've been around a bit. I've been around a few years, and as you said yourself, Alex, earlier, very few of us have been through anything like this before. I mean, it's been a unique challenge. But I can honestly say I've never been more proud of the organisation I work for than I have been in the past 6 months. And I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but I mean it. The response was remarkable, and within days of the initial early signs that things were going to be changing very rapidly, everybody just mucked in. We changed our service delivery more or less overnight, because obviously with lockdown, things like day centres had to stop. Things like all of our classes had to stop. Visiting people in their home, volunteers visiting people as befrienders had to stop. So, when you think about what our core business, if you like, almost overnight that was stopped and had to change. And so what happened was everyone just mucked in and found different ways of doing it. Now, obviously, a lot of that has been telephone support. So we have put in place literally thousands of hours of telephone support over the course of the last 6 months, to make sure that the people who were either going to a day centre or going to a group, going to a dementia support group, getting a volunteer, just to make sure that nobody was left behind. Nobody felt that they were abandoned. And that has been the most remarkable effort by both the team at Martle Gardens and in Telford, but also our volunteers, who have been honestly, they've been extraordinary. And they just got on with it. And, we've more recently, we've tried to, as the first phase of COVID kind of calmed down, we've started to look at business recovery and how we can start getting people meeting again, because everyone's desperate to get out. That's the thing. Yeah, everybody, people are really fed up with this now. And it's all very well having lots of phone calls, but you actually want to meet people, you want to see people, you want that human contact. So we started to do a bit of planning and delivery of some COVID, this awful phrase, COVID secure groups. It's dreadful, isn't it? But we've done some of that. And then, of course, what we don't know is what's going to happen now in the next 6 months, because quite clearly there's going to be a second wave. The indications are that the second wave might not be quite as steep as the first one. The spike won't be quite as high, but it could be a bit longer. So, we've done it once, we'll do it again, we'll keep adapting. But the key thing to say is that, nobody will be left out. We will make sure that all of our clients are supported one way or the other. And we've been using things like Zoom. Who knew that Zoom would become a thing, and my colleague, Catherine, my colleague Emma, who runs our dementia services, she's set up some brilliant dementia support groups via Zoom, which for carers of people living with dementia has been a real lifeline. Huge success, and so we can do lots more of that.
Zoom was an interesting thing, because obviously we've always had this technology, always on Skype, or it's always, but you know what I mean? It's been around for a long time. But Zoom are kind of like, yeah, let's simplify it. Let's make it so that you can watch videos whilst talking to people. You know, it was just like a real great innovation that everybody's sort of adapted to. And adapting and adaptation is a really important word, because we have spoken to so many charities. I was just listing them now, just over the thing, and this isn't even all of them. The Shrewsbury Town, the community we've spoken to, the Prince Rupert, obviously we haven't spoken to, but they did that amazing thing where they housed all the homeless people.
Fantastic.
It was amazing. The Royal British Legion, straight away, bam, we're going to do something virtual. Dog Aid, amazing, because they're a handful of people that are helping people and offering the virtual services as well. The Movement Centre as well, obviously, because people are shielding, you know, and shielding is really important. Obviously, you can't have human contact. So you're saying you're using Zoom and you're using the technology around you. How do you tackle that with someone that's got dementia and can't understand, but yet cannot have somebody physically in the room to set it up for them? Was that a big challenge for you?
Well, the people that we support that have got dementia tend to, by definition, are not living by themselves. So they are living with a carer. Okay. So they'll have somebody caring for them. So that's the way in. So we do it with the carer. What I think is really interesting with Zoom, though, and other technologies, is that there's been a big issue, not just in Shrewsbury, not just in Shropshire, but nationally, about this phrase digital exclusion. So, you know, lots more and more services, shopping, banking, you know, local authority services, where you're going to have to do it online. And so digital exclusion is a really big issue for older people who are not used to doing stuff online, maybe haven't got the tech. If they've got the tech, they're scared of it, blah, blah, blah. Now, 6 months ago, that was a massive issue. It's still a big issue now, but I think that one of the positives that's come out of COVID is that a lot of people have had to embrace this technology. And a lot of people have got used to having the weekly Zoom quiz with their family or whatever it might be, you know. So we feel now that we're almost pushing against a slightly open door now when it comes to trying to increase uptake amongst older people of digital technologies. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, we think of COVID as being all negative. There have, you know, I think this will be one of the positives that will come from it. Will be this much, you know, more acceptance, if you like, that some stuff is going to be done digitally.
Yeah, and different ways of connecting with people.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, there are older people who don't have the technology, and we want to help them to understand how to use it, how quickly and how easily it can be used, and actually can provide a real benefit in terms of well-being. So that's a nice project that we're working on at the moment.
And I think for anybody, technology takes a while to learn to use. Anyway, I mean, last night I was broadcasting with Jackie Jordan, who's somebody who runs something in New York called TV Guest, but it was her 50th birthday, so she invited lots of people along, and it was at the Muscle Shoals Community Theatre, the very famous place where Aretha Franklin did her thing. You know, it was really nice. We got to see the band and everything, and there was a guy who had the mandatory under nose shot. It just keeps beeping at me, and he's tapping his phone, and the camera's on, and you could see his finger tapping the screen, and I'm just like, oh, bless him. So we had to sort of help him sort of get it set up. Like, it just keeps beeping at me, like, you know, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. But that is the
yeah. You should have seen our first staff meeting we did by Zoom. Oh, it was so funny.
So funny.
And Kev was hosting it, so he's going, right, yeah, can you just make sure you're on mute? And then, of course, there's a dog barking, my Labrador, usually, when the postman comes. Then another dog barks. Then, of course, all the dogs bark. Now, can I please just say, can everybody please just press mute? Can you be on mute? And then, of course, we would get introduced to speak. So Kev would say, right, okay, can you give us an update on fundraising? And then I'm on mute, so I'm going like this. And Kev's going, no, you need to unmute yourself. And even though we've been using this technology for months now, we're all still doing it. We're all still guilty of it, aren't we?
It's a funny thing, especially that thing that's going around my box now, that yellow line. That's scary to people, you know. It's say you're in a networking thing and you sneeze and that yellow line. Yeah, you know. It's like, oh no, you know, you do something a little bit more embarrassing, like break the wind or something. I don't know. This is, but okay, it's funny to see that, but it's funny for everybody, and everybody's going for that same curve.
Yeah.
But the beauty of this thing is that thing was in Alabama last night. The thing was in Alabama. There were people all around the world, and I had my mic off and my camera off while I was pottering around because this thing, I was on there for a couple of hours, and my wife was just sat there just listening to the Alabama accents, and she was just like, "Oh, it's beautiful. I love that accent," you know. And that's what this brings, right? So even
absolutely,
you bring everyone to the same position. You can all talk about whatever problems you've got, and you offer a lifeline to people that are away from the community.
What we've got to be careful about is that we don't end up going too far the other way, because I think you're absolutely right, Alex. I think it gives us opportunities that we haven't had before to bring people together. What I don't want to happen is that this becomes like, instead of human contact, instead of face-to-face meetings and groups and all the rest of it. I think it can enhance it, but it shouldn't be a substitute for it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely agree. 100% agree, because we've got a studio in the Parade Shops behind St Mary's, and I've just come back from there. I spoke to Talk to Tom. I don't know if you've seen him on Instagram. He sits at coffee shops and he has a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I love the chemistry you get from physically interviewing people in the same room. That for me is really important, and as well as, you know, I'm feeding off energy to make an interview interesting. Somebody that might need a bit of empathy and a bit of love and a bit of support will also feel that if they're in person. So I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you say you've evolved the day centres. What are you guys doing with them at the moment? Well,
the day centres obviously are still not open, and I think the problem with the day centres is it's very hard to have a socially distanced day centre. I mean, the whole point of a day centre is you come together with 15 or 20 people who are your friends, they're your mates. Okay, you sit around and you have a chat and you do stuff together, you eat together, and all the rest of it. Trying to do that socially distanced becomes very artificial. And also it means that we've got to limit the numbers as well. And then how do you select the numbers and all the rest of it? Then there's the problem of the venues. A lot of the venues we use tend to be community rooms in housing associations or village halls. A lot of landlords don't want their venues to be used at the moment, so that's another issue. So, you know, it's a real challenge. And I think sorry, Catherine.
I was just going to say, Kev, about the work that the volunteers are doing. So the volunteers are run, aren't they, by the day centres?
No, the day centres are run by the volunteers.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, carry on.
So what they're doing is they're visiting their day centre members, dropping off afternoon teas and little food packages. So they're still seeing them. And they're doing that off their own back, aren't they?
It's just brilliant, honestly. We've had so many examples of this. I mean, as Catherine said, you know, just completely off their own back, turning up with a fruit basket, say, you know, locally sourced fruit, with a little note just saying, you know, you're not forgotten, we're still here. There's a lady called Joan in Newport who runs the Newport Day Centre, and she's just brilliant. Every month she does something different. It's cakes one month, it was fruit the next. Each time a little poem that she's written for them. So, you know, this community effort, you know, it's organic. It's just happened, you know, because people care about what they're doing, and it's just, you know, that's been really remarkable to witness.
Yeah, it is beautiful. What about social media? Have you guys been using social media a lot? I mean, that's difficult again, I guess. A lot of technological aspects to that's quite difficult, but at the same time, a place where people can meet and talk amongst each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've been using social media for a number of years in terms of promoting the work that we're doing, you know, doing some clips, some case studies, talking to service users, older people that we support. We want to do a lot more of that. We think that there's certainly a need for us to do that, but I think we're also well aware that it tends to be family and friends that use social media. So for us, it's actually, how do we reach older people, and those older people that are the most isolated, that don't have the family and friends. And that's always going to be a continued challenge for us, really.
Yeah. It is difficult. I mean, like with this show, I aimed this show at a demographic that don't really listen to podcasts. So I wanted people that were of the older age that kind of aren't used to the technology. And I thought this is going to be a struggle, but actually, you know, it's worked. There's our demographic is spread right across the board, but mostly a lot of people that can't get out and about will enjoy the Shrewsbury Biscuit and listen to it. So I'm so proud that we've been able to do that, because that was a huge challenge for me, because going from a show which was aimed for sort of like 30-year-old geeks that probably still live with their moms to making a different show for that kind of demo, I feel like we kind of attacked that quite well. Now, with what's going on, obviously with COVID, funding, I guess, has been affected an awful lot. You haven't been able to go out and about. I mean, I think Age UK and the Biscuit met last year, I believe. One of my team went and met the Age UK and did a little crumb interview, I believe, and that's the first time we sort of met. That was at Stop Cafe, the museum.
Okay. Yeah.
So. How it must have been really difficult for you this year, not being able to get out and about.
Shall I start and then hand over to Catherine?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll let Catherine talk about the fundraising bit. I mean, we're lucky, I guess, Alex, in some ways compared to other charities and other Age UKs, in that a significant proportion of our income comes from contracts that we hold with local authority and the NHS. And of course, what that's meant is that we've got some security and some sustainability and stability, if you like, with our funding streams. So, you know, we're not as badly off as we could have been. And the future is still, you know, we're very clear that we're going to be okay, certainly in the short to medium term. Where we've been really hit, and this is what I'll hand over to Catherine, has been the discretionary income, the income that we get from grants and funds and fundraising and so on. And that's where COVID has really hit very, very hard. Catherine.
Yeah, like all charities, you know, all our fundraising events have been put on hold. You mentioned about our 70th birthday this year. We had a whole nice 2-year plan of everything we were going to do to celebrate our birthday and do lots of really good fundraising stuff. And sadly, that's been on hold. We've still launched our Platinum Appeal, so we're wanting people to get behind us. We're encouraging people to take up a Platinum Challenge. I'm going to do a 10K run. Kev's going to cycle 400 miles.
Wow.
And he's going to raise loads of money.
I can't believe you talk about stitching me up like a kipper. I haven't agreed to that at all.
Well, it's on audio now, man.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I know her game, Alex. I know her game.
So if you see Kev on his bike out and about, give him a wave.
Yeah. He said he wanted to get fit. You know, he's got a bike. So
I didn't mention 400 miles.
Well, I am planning to get this show out very quickly. I want to get this out on Monday. So what I want to do is there a hashtag for that, or can people send videos in for you, or you know, sponsor forms that people can access just to raise a bit of money? Because I'd love to open this to our listeners and see if you can do something. If you can, I don't know, run 10K, or if you can do something really nice, do a Captain Tom, do a few laps around your garden or something.
Yeah, that's where we're coming from, Alex, because we need to make it accessible and as flexible as we can, really. So you can run in your garden. I was doing that actually because we've been shielding, and I was running up and down the garden. When you look on Strava, it looks like I've gone a bit mad because the Strava thing looks crazy. But so, you know, you can do it in your park. You can do it basically anywhere you feel most comfortable. You can walk up and down the stairs, you know, 500 times, whatever you want to do. We just want to give people the opportunity to fundraise for us, get behind the work and the fantastic work that our volunteers are doing to support older people. And you can do that in any way, shape or form. We had one of our fundraisers jump out of a plane. Obviously, not everybody needs to do that, but she raised nearly £1,000 because she had.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, you see, her family had benefited from the support that we'd given them. Mm-hmm. So very often there tends to be people raising money because they had some direct benefit from the help that we've provided. And that's all we're saying is, look, please encourage your family and friends to take up a platinum challenge. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. It's all going to help.
I like that. I really like that. And seriously, listeners, get in touch. I want to see if you got anything. I'm thinking of something. You mentioned stairs, and I'm thinking, I've got stairs where I live. Maybe I can genuinely do something. What do you reckon with what is it? 2 floors, stairs. Maybe I can go up the same amount of stairs as the Empire State Building or something.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, anything like that.
Yeah.
One of our volunteers from our information and advice team, so he decided to sit on a rowing machine, and he did the distance of the London Marathon on a rowing machine in a weekend. Nice. Brilliant.
That'd be really cool. I used to hate it. I was really good at rowing, but the thing is, whenever I'd come down, my knee would make a weird click sound. It wouldn't affect it or anything. So I'd hit this click, even when I'm in music, click, click, click. And I was just like, okay, let's not do this. It's reminding me that I'm getting old now.
That's not good.
No.
That's not a good sound.
No. Listeners, please, is there a hashtag? Is there something that people can hashtag on it?
Yes, there is.
Catherine's like, no, you put me on the spot. Let me have a look.
Presumably as hashtag Platinum Challenge.
Platinum Challenge, I think. Yeah.
That would be obvious, wouldn't it?
Yes.
But all this stuff's on our website, Alex, as well. So and our Facebook page and our Twitter page, etc. It's all there on all the social medias.
Fantastic. Yeah. Go on, sorry.
I'll send it to you, Alex.
Yeah, please do. I will. I'm going to do what I'll do is I'll do a little promo video. Hi, this is Alex from the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Would you like to help?
Don't do that voice.
Hey, man, that's my.
We're trying to attract people.
No, I think this is a great idea. I'm thinking of doing something. Yeah, I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you guys.
Okay.
I do want to do
so our chief exec Heather and our chair of trustees Sue, they're going to walk up the Wrekin on our 70th birthday, which happens to be the 11th of November this year.
Brilliant. Now, of course, the old days of collecting sponsorship money is probably over now. While we're doing this, we used to collect a form and then go around and collect money. Are people using GoFundMe, things like that for you guys? Is there a GoFundMe you'd like to?
Yeah. We've got Just Giving page. So Age UK Shropshire and Wrekin Platinum Challenge. There's a Just Giving page we've set up specifically for our 70th birthday and the Platinum Appeal. So anybody can link to that. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to donate. So you can do it online. You can do a text to donate as well. And ultimately, if people just want to write a check and post a donation to us at Marble Gardens, then we'll happily process that too.
And is there a pack people can download or anything with forms or anything? Is there any? Because some people.
It's all on our website. Fantastic. So they can visit Age UK Shropshire Telford and Wrekin website, and it'll be on there.
Fantastic. I think this is a great idea. Get the Biscuit involved. Let's see what you guys can do. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that listen to the Biscuit that quietly sit there and listen to the show, don't really get in touch. I see you. This is your time to shine, guys. Okay, so you're listening to this, you might be able to help, because I know there are a lot of charities that really do appreciate any kind of help they can get at the moment, because they can't go out and about. And I know what Kev says, the majority of your income comes from contracts and things like that. But when it comes to funds and to grants, things like that, the people that give the grant money can't make the money because they can't go out and get the money. So it's just an odd situation. You can help, help people,
It's certainly a challenging time for us. And as a fundraising team, we're trying to think of innovative ways to fundraise. We're really fortunate that we've got a group of volunteers in the north of the county, North Shropshire Supporters Group, and they fundraise over the year for us. And there's a Shrewsbury Supporters Group of which Kev's involved in, and they generate about £10,000-12,000 every year for us. Again, because of COVID, all of those sort of plans have been put on hold. So we're trying to just think creatively in terms of what we can do to engage our supporters, get people to donate to us. the North Shropshire Supporters Group did a dog and cat competition. So that was quite fun. They got the, sort of categories were dog who looked like their owners. There was that category.
Can I just interject here? It was a photography competition. It was a picture of the dog, wasn't it? That they were after.
Yeah.
Just to clarify that.
Yeah. Photography competition. Yeah. And the cute puppy competition, cute kitten competition. So, they raised about £350 for that.
Nice.
We did it all online. So, like every charity, we're just dipping our toe in the water a little bit and trying things. And I think, again, as a result of COVID, we're having to change. We're having to be innovative. And I think this is forcing us as fundraisers to think differently. And that's no bad thing, We need to be challenged. So it's quite an exciting time for us, I think, as fundraisers. And I'm part of the Institute of Fundraising, and everybody's saying, this is a really difficult time for us, but let's embrace it, because it presents other opportunities that perhaps we would never have ever explored before.
And I think that's the difference between sort of charities and companies, businesses that stand the test of time, isn't it? I mean, this isn't meant as a negative thing to say to people that have been washed out of business because of the floods or COVID. And, we lost Button and Bear, which is, I always use that as an example because Button and Bear was just sound company, But like to the people that haven't been able to adapt and haven't been able to go, right, okay, we've got a problem, let's find the solution. The people that find the solutions and can adapt are the people that stand the test of time. You guys are 70 years old. And the point of me saying about, further problems, that, back way when, is because there are problems that people face. And you guys seem like you're on the ball. And I really do hope it pays off for you. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah. This has been great. And I would love to, we have had this idea for about a year now. We've never really solidified on it. We've never really moved forward with it. But I really do want to, even if I bring in an extra biscuit here to do it. So Shane came up with this idea. It was like 4:00 in the morning. He rang me. He was like, I've got this great idea for the biscuit. And I was like, Shane, no, don't do that.
Not at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was something called Memoirs of a Salopian. And the idea is to speak to the Silver Age generation of the of Shrewsbury and talk about the places they used to work, the schools they went to, the pubs they used to drink in, talk about their life way back when, so that people can go, oh my God, that was that then. Oh, I remember that teacher. Oh, I used to work in that warehouse, things like that. And we wanted to sort of reach out and sort of find people that have got interesting stories. So maybe you guys can help us with that.
We definitely can. I mean, when you think, over the course of a year, we're in contact with about 20,000 or 25,000 older people across Shropshire and Telford. Amongst that number, you're going to get some great stories, really great stories.
Even if it's over Zoom. I mean, I'm
very, very happy to help with that. Yeah,
I would preferably like to sit there with a cup of tea and to do this in person, because I think there you go. It's a person coming to visit you with a microphone. Is what happened. That's quite nice. But if we have to start over Zoom and then adapt like you guys have, then I would love to speak to you guys further on that, because those stories where granddad's talking about the war again, or those are the stories I want to capture, because eventually they'll disappear. That's important. So maybe this will come into be a thing soon.
It sounds good.
Yeah. You guys have been amazing to talk to. Thank you so much for giving me your time today.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been great, Alex. Can I just give the Platinum Challenge one more last
Please
plug?
do. I was going to say, this is your moment. I'll give you a moment. I'm going to step away from the mic. You do your thing. You go.
Okay, so we want everybody to get behind us to celebrate our 70th birthday. Please take a Platinum Challenge and raise funds for older people in your community. So the hashtag is Platinum Challenge, and you can also text to donate Platinum to 70480 to donate £5. Thank you.
Nice.
It was like you practiced that, Catherine.
That was the bit you get on Children in Need, isn't it?
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, really. Well, no, genuinely. Please, like that was mentioned at the beginning of the episode, anything you do donate will go into the Shropshire pot, I guess, and it will stay in local. So please do. I want to start something. I want to start like the Biscuit Age UK movement. Sort of, this is what we did. That'd be cool.
We're right. Yeah, we're up for that.
We'll be with you, Alex.
Up for that, definitely.
Okay, so before we sign off for this episode, actually, first of all, social media, where can people find you?
We're on Facebook and Twitter, and we've got a great website. If you just search Age UK Shropshire, exactly, you'll get us. Yeah,
fantastic. Okay, so I want to say a huge thank you to. I am making an advert. This is like the third show this week where I've said I'm making an advert because Chris Goff, who's helping me create something like the biscuit. We're going to turn it into a CIC, something that's a bit more official. So a huge thank you to Chris Goff from CGR Business Solutions Limited. He has been amazing. He's helped me fill out the forms, because when it comes to this show, this is what I'm best at, this and the editing, so to be able to be something official really means a lot to me. So thank you, Chris, for that. I would like you to visit our website as well, guys, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. All of our audio is available on that website, and it's made for us by our friends out Web Orchard. If you need a website, go and check them out. They're fantastic. And this episode isn't brought to you by the Parade Shops, but usually it is. If you behind St. Mary's, there is a brilliant little shopping centre there called the Parade Shops. Go and have a look. It's fantastic. There is so much going on there that everything changes week by week. The shops there are fantastic, and there's an amazing cafe there too, the Riverview. Oh, that's getting quite a bit at the end there. I might need to break that out. Kevin, Catherine, you have been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me this week.
Oh, thanks, Alex.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
We will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Thank you.